Welcome back to Tales of Japan. I'm your boy Shades, and I wanted to tell you guys tonight about particularly Hooters in Japan. And Hooters, you know, it was one of those things where we were looking for places to eat, and we decided, hey, look, there's a Hooters. And you know, like when you're in another country and you want to see whether or not that other country kind of does a thing that's like, you know, you want to see what it's like. What's the transition like? Because we went to a Denny's while we were there. And I remember Butterqueen was like, I'm so excited for you to go to Denny's. And I was like, alright, cool, yep, sweet. We get there, and it was all Japanese Denny's. Like, they had probably like 3 or 4 things that were like Americanized Denny's, and 90% of it. Don't get me wrong, though, I had the best, it was like the best curry, what was it? It was like a curry. There were no there were no mozzarella. Yeah, and that's right. And there was this chick sitting in the booth over, and she's like, "Oh my god, there's no mozzarella sticks." That was her though. Don't you remember her? Yeah. Nah, she sounded like a right cunt. So you know, when you're in Japan, you're like, okay, that's the culture. So you know, you want to see what's different. So we want to head to Hooters. And by the way, everybody's been telling me about this whole Sonic merchandise thing that they're doing with Hooters. I can't believe I missed out on that shit. I've missed the boat on that. That would be awesome to go to fucking Hooters and play Sonic the Hedgehog. So there was 2. We went to the one. There was one that was downstairs in Shibuya, and from what I remember, there was like you took a lift down, and we get there, and there was kind of like a balcony, and you overlooked the balcony, and it was basically just like your typical average sort of restaurant. Like I'm trying to think of a restaurant that you guys would know, but all I'm thinking of is like Australian restaurants. But it's just your typical restaurant. But here's the thing: the one thing that sets the whole thing apart is that the Japanese girls, and look, we've talked about this shit before. Like, I mean, Japanese people are into oppai, but they're also into flat justice, right? It must be really hard to get girls with big busts, because these girls are really trying to push their tits out. And so we were like, oh, it's adorable. She's got tiny titties. So we end up, these girls too, and they're trying to be like, they're trying to basically speak English in a sense, like, welcome to Hooters. Well, I don't know, they're probably not doing an accent. But, so, you know, we take a seat. What do we order from Hooters? Dead. The food was very Americanized, and that's what intrigued me a lot, was that, and this is why I wanted to do this video, was that don't ever think that, you know, the store's going to do exactly what you think it's going to do. Like, when you go to other countries and stuff, don't necessarily be shy to, like, you know, just go in there and see. Because, you know, I mean, there was a Starbucks there, and I wish we'd kind of gone in there, because I wanted to see exactly what they did differently. Like when we went into KFC was kind of, they did things so differently in there. Not just the presentation and stuff, but some of the meals that they had were, you just don't get them. Like, for instance, in McDonald's over there, they have, or Mickey D's, or whatever you like to call it, they had like a special sort of fish burger. It was like a patty thing, and apparently got really popular in Japan, and it's just stuck there. And it's been there this entire time. I forget the name of the burger. I'll put that up on the screen. But going back to Hooters. So, everything is very Americanized. You know, you're sitting in there and you don't feel, for the brief moment that you're in there, you just don't feel like you're in Japan. You actually feel like you stepped out into America. Whereas when you went into Denny's, you felt like you were in Japan Denny's, because it was just Japanese food. Which, again, still amazing, because I was like, oh, hell yeah, like, I wanted to try this dish. So, I ended up getting to try something that I wanted to try in, like, a really, like, kind of more expensive restaurant. I mean, I don't know how Denny's is for people in America. Would I recommend Hooters for Japan? I'd say yeah. I'd say it's worth a look. I think with the Sonic promotion, I don't know how long that's going to go on for. But if they're doing promotions like that in Japan, that's pretty cool. I don't know what the appeal is though of Hooters in Japan, because I really felt like Hooters is definitely an American thing. I know we have a few over here in Australia, like not in the western side, but in the eastern side we do. And I don't know, you know, do the racks count? Because I know Hooters is Hooters, but does Hooters, for me, Hooters is Hooters, you know, like, it's not just Hooters. But don't get me wrong, them Hooters was good, but I mean, these Hooters would be good too, but I mean, you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm putting down. That is my experience. I basically just talked about tits. I basically just talked about tits the whole time. But, hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Tales of Japan. As always, I'm your boy Shades. Good night.